Episode 102. It's Star Trek The Motion Picture, the first of the movies. And we start off with a musical interlude. We get a Starfield here. I should say I'm watching the director's edition of this. So that might make a few differences when I go through this, which is the best version. Definitely recommend that one. So we start off with the Starfield musical interlude, and this is a great point to say Jerry Goldsmith does a fantastic job in this movie. Elias' theme is beautiful. The Klingon theme that we get, fantastic. And of course, the main overture is so good they reuse it for Star Trek The Next Generation. So yeah, all credit to Jerry Goldsmith for what he does in this movie. Fantastic. After the interlude, we see the Klingons for the first time, and they are looking at a big cloud. In fact, they're shooting a big cloud, which doesn't work, as the cloud shoots back and destroys them. So the remaining Klingons have to run away like it's Monty Python. And that doesn't work because they get shot as well. Meanwhile, on Vulcan, we've got Happy Spock. He is trying to purge all emotions, which doesn't work because he gets touched by the cloud, and that touches his human half, as he discovers from a mind meld. So he's Phil Collinar then. Off you pop. Meanwhile on Earth, we've got Admiral Kirk, who is meeting with Commander Sonak, who's a Vulcan who's going to report to him on the Enterprise, because he's off to Nagura to take control. Where is Starfleet, by the way? Is it on the San Francisco side, or is it on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge? Because it seems to vary depending on what episode or what movie you're watching. Here, it's definitely San Francisco side. Athena, for instance, parks over the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge. Maybe Starfleet just spans both in this 23rd century onwards. Who knows? The Enterprise has been getting an 18-month refit, but Kirk has been head of Starfleet operations for 2.5 years. So what's the extra year? Where did that come from? Did the Enterprise do something for a year when Kirk stopped being in command of it? Don't know. So he gets taken up to the Enterprise, not via the transporters. We'll come back to that issue. Scotty takes him the long way round. This is one of the reasons this gets called like the slow motion picture, because Scotty does milk it. This is really just to show off the new model. The refit Enterprise is my absolute favourite. The Constitution refit is beautiful. It's always been my favourite Enterprise, always will be, and I have no problem whatsoever with Scotty looking at us. As the meme says, get someone that looks at you the way Kirk looks at the Enterprise when Scotty swings round to face it front on. Cracking view. Once we get there, we see engineering for the first time, and we've got the up and down, the vertical warp core for the first time, which is a design we see forever or more. TNG, Voyager, lots of the starships have all got this up and down thing. They've also got what the TNG corridor shape. You'll see this in this movie as well. The sort of 9-pointed shape almost. It's a bit thinner in the Enterprise original than it is in the Enterprise D, but still the same shape. You'll recognise it straight away. It's a bit more shiny in this ship. We eventually get the ship out of space dock, we will, but first of all, we need to finish getting all the people on board because there's a transporter accident at this point. Rand is back for the first time. She's balancing terror. She was missing from the middle of sort of season 1. She's back here working a transporter, but not a great thing to be doing that because Sonak and somebody else, I'm never entirely sure who it is, beam through and it's not working. They half form and then Starfleet pulls them back. What we got back didn't live long, fortunately. That is the most terrifying line in this entire movie, and possibly any Star Trek movie actually. That haunts me. That line. It's terrifying way to die. But that means we're no science officer, so Decker, who was originally captain of the Enterprise and got demoted and Kirk took over, has to double up as exec and science officer for now. We do get eventually the transporters working, and we get Disco Bones. He gets to beam up. Yeah, I love Disco Bones. That's the greatest outfit ever. I love his beard. It's a shame we only see it briefly in this one scene. But yeah. Before we leave, the Enterprise crew get told exactly what they're going to meet. Epsilon 9 gets destroyed as well. Poor, I can't remember what his real name was, but he was Zon in Phase 2. That was the idea originally with this movie. It wasn't going to be a movie, it was going to be a new series. And instead of Leonard Nimoy Spock, we're going to have this guy's Zon. So he gets to play human on Epsilon 9 and gets killed off in this movie. So that's about a shame. They're going to leave soon. They need to go and catch this intruder. They're the only ship in the area. That's a bit of a movie trope, a bit of a hole. The Earth shouldn't have only one ship at a time. It's very strange. So we'll more about that again soon. They leave space dock. There's a somersaulting man in a spacesuit, and he waves at them. He's about the most emotive one because all the others that we see just float about, do not a lot. There's a lot of floaty spacemen in this movie. So yeah, they go to fly past Jupiter because let's show off what the Voyager 1 and 2 were doing back in 1979. And then they try to go to warp, but there's an imbalance and it creates a wormhole. They want to shoot an asteroid that gets dragged into it, but of course the phasers won't work because they're tied to the warp engines. Kirk doesn't know this. Decker does. He countermands the order and they fire a photon torpedo to get out instead. There's a lot of dick swinging between Decker and Kirk in this movie. This is one of them. In this instance, Decker was absolutely right and he was doing his job correctly. But yeah, the relationship between those two is actually well played in this one. Decker is often right, not always, but often. So he then, after a little chat with Kirk and Decker then talks to Troy. Sorry, Ilea. She's a navigator from Delta 4, where, yes, Decker was stationed for a while. They had a relationship and then he went off to have his career. It's the Riker and Troy prototype story. Love it, but that's fine. Yeah, so she's a Deltan, which means she's got like pheromones that transmit to everybody, and you see Chekhov smile when she first appears on the bridge. That's why he's a bit horny. You need to read the book to know this, though. They never really explain it in the movie. And then, like, clean cut, Spock shows up in his shuttle, thankfully, to help fix their engines immediately. That gets them going to warp. They can go and catch up with the cloud. Once they get to the cloud, Kirk and Decker have a bit more dick swinging. It shoots them, and the screens hold just about. I'm surprised the screens hold in this because they've never held in anything else, so it's a good thing we're very modern here. They just about hold because they get through a little bit and Chekhov gets burnt. Ilea does like a force heal on him, just enough to get the spray. And then Spock does the transmission. We fly into the cloud. We get a bit more the slow motion picture part. It's all very pretty. I like the graphics in this. Don't get me wrong. It's a very pretty movie. It's very slow down the going though at times. They find the ship that's there. They fly over the ship. We see the tiny Enterprise against it to get good perspective. And when they get into the back, there's like a sphincter. There's no other way to describe it really. It's 6-pointed sphincter. We then get another probe on the ship this time, which takes Ilea. It's at this point Decker says, this is define unwarranted. He couldn't define unwarranted before, so that was a bit odd. They then get pulled into the sphincter by a tractor beam. Decker wants to shoot it to try and break free, and Spock rightly says, break free to where? Which he never answers, because he's wrong in this instance. They end up inside. They then get an intruder alert, which means that they have probe Ilea, who appears in a sonic shower naked. Does the sonic shower give her that very skimpy dress? It just never really explained where the clothes just appeared from. Obviously, there's modesty issues if she opened that shower before the clothes appeared. So yeah, why does McCoy keep coming and going on the bridge? Just sometimes he just walks on, hangs about, and walks off again. He does that a lot in the movie. Look out for it if you're watching it. And then they take McCoy and Ilea to scan her, find out she's a mechanism. And when she gets bored with that, she Kool-Aids her way out of the sick bay, straight through the door. That they decide that Decker, not Decker unit, she's calling everybody unit in this. There's Kirk unit, Spock unit, McCoy unit, just Decker though. So they figure that there's actually Ilea's in there as well. So they use Decker to try and get into that. They use the rec hall, which has pictures of the Enterprise on it, except Archer's NX-01. There is that roundy ship as well, which nobody seems to know what that really is. Obviously, this is made before Enterprise was even conceived of, so of course Enterprise isn't there. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame the retro actively put it back in. It's fine. That doesn't really work, so they put a headband on her, and that kind of taps it there. She says, like, V'Ger, which is the name of this ship, is looking for its creator, and it doesn't know what it is. That's the secret here. That's not what the creator is. So, okay. Right. Meanwhile, Spock's a bit concerned that the probe's on the way to find out any information, so he has to get a spacesuit, which he steals, goes into another chamber of the ship. We see planets and all sorts of recordings. We see Darth Vader and Miss Piggy. They're in there. Have a look. And then eventually we get an Ilea, which Spock has a little mind meld with the sensor, which frazzles him. And then he gets whacked back, and Kirk Campbell's waiting for him to bring him back into the ship. Spock reveals that V'Ger is a child, a machine child that doesn't comprehend simple things like feeling, touch, all that kind of thing, which makes sense because they're just total logic. So that's what it's asking questions. Interesting concept, really. By that point, the ship Voyager has reached Earth and signals the creator using radio waves, which seems odd. Makes sense later on, but at first it seems odd that that's after all the high technology, but using radio waves. So the creator doesn't respond, so Voyager shoots Earth. At which point we have to treat it like a child and say, "What? I know why creator hasn't responded. Oh, why? They're telling you." Temper tantrum. I'll tell you when you take away those weapons. Stop shooting my planet. Okay, I'll stop shooting your planet when you tell me the information. I'll learn fast. Bluff called. I'll tell Voyager. Okay, so Voyager then sets up a oxygen gravity atmosphere outside the Enterprise and creates what can only be described as the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland to walk to it. So they walk to it, discover that actually Voyager is in fact Voyager 6, just with the central letters covered up. A stunt they pulled in Spider-Man Brand New Day recently. VMAX, Voyager, same joke. Yeah, it's Voyager 6. It fell into what they say is a black hole. Let's just call it a wormhole. Never mind the 70s stuff. And it's going to transmit everything it knows to the creator. So they send a signal to do that, and Voyager burns it out because Voyager wants to bring the creator there. Decker volunteers to be that creator, puts it in himself, and he then erotically merges with Voyager, and it's a very weird thing. It's all very lucky. There's undertones to this merging with Voyager. And they get back to the ship just in time for the entire thing to basically go up in a big flashy bang. The Enterprise doesn't get absorbed somehow, which is interesting. I don't know how they managed to avoid that, but yeah, all good. So I don't think this machine planet that found Voyager, by the way, was the Borg. Some people do. It's not for me. It's too machine planet. If it was the Borg, none of this would really make sense because Voyager would maybe understand the idea of merging with humans more than this. Not for me. Yeah, so McCoy says it's first time he's delivered a baby in a while. Who was the last one? Leonard James Acker? Probably. I'm sure he's done more than that since then. It's been a few years. Scotty says he can have Spock back in Vulcan in 4 days, which is much slower than the JJ verse, where you can get there in about 5 minutes. And then Kirk says that away because it's a shakedown cruise time. Is Kirk just taking command of the ship now? I thought he was just taking command for this mission. But okay, he's just going to go and take it in his shakedown now. Cool. Okay. Yeah. I, as much as I'm wearing one of the uniforms right now, this is one of the better ones. This is like the Admiral uniform, extra braids on it. This and Kirk's t-shirt is probably the two I like. The rest all look like, mostly look like pajamas. Let's face it. So the aesthetic of this is not the best movie, but some of the stuff's nice. And nothing beats Disco Bones. Let's face it. I enjoy this movie. There's no shooty pew pews in it really, but it is slow, but it's visually pretty. The music is beautiful. It's a 3 out of 5 for me. I am more than happy to watch this over and over again, especially for this director's edition. Not just because I've polished it up with the visuals and stuff like that, but just the story works a little better. You get like Spock crying at one part. You get the Leia force heal thing. Some of the dialogue works better. Kirk doesn't shout at Uhura twice like he does in one of the versions to turn the viewer off. So yeah, it's important to watch the director's edition if you do. So I highly recommend this movie. It is not as bad as people make it out to be. I really enjoy it. I've enjoyed this one, and it will be on to another movie next.